Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks very much, Red Cloud, for putting on the event today. It's nice to be back in Toronto after 2.5 years of being away due to COVID. Some things never change. The weather's still the same as it was 2.5 years ago, but it's good to be back, and it's good to be back presenting in front of a live audience again. Solis Minerals. I've recently joined. I'm fresh. I've been here a week, basically. So I'm sort of going through the process of getting myself up to speed with where the company's at, especially historically, as the company has been formed with a focus on developing IOCG and copper porphyry assets in South America, in Peru, predominantly. My focus myself has been more recently in the lithium space. I spent the last 2.5 years running a company in Australia called Red Dirt Metals. We had some excellent success in finding and now developing what is a spodumene-rich pegmatite system in Western Australia. I feel we're probably in the wrong room at the moment, because the focus of Solis is probably moving more into the lithium space. We still are looking for obviously all battery minerals, so copper is included in that, but where we see as a company the greatest uplift in the shortest period of time is for us getting some foot on some really good projects in Brazil, and adding value through investment in those projects in the short term. So the cautionary statement, please read that at your leisure. Company market cap at the moment sits at about $10 million. We've got a couple of $1 million in the bank. There's about $60 million shares out on issue. Just under 90 million fully diluted. The board, an interesting board. One thing to point out here is our major shareholder is Latin Resources. Christopher Gale is the executive chairman. He's also the chairman of Latin Resources. And what that gives us is it gives us a partnership in Brazil, which we can basically take a lot of experience and sort of shortens the lead time and your learning period of how to operate in the country. Latin have had a really good success with a project called Colina. South of they've got roughly 15 million tonnes on the board, and pegmatite projects there. What we want to do here at Solis is emulate that success in the northeastern part of Brazil, and I'll take you through that as well. Also on the board, obviously myself, just joined recently. Michael Parker was out of Equinox, I believe. He spent a lot of time in Peru. His expertise is porphyry coppers and IOCG systems, exploring for those systems in Peru, and having him on the board is an excellent addition to that. We have Kevin Wilson, Jason Kubert, who just stepped down as CEO, but now remain on the board as non-exec, and Chafika Edin. I can't really pronounce her name properly, but you've probably all seen this slide 50 times, but I'll just go through it again. One thing to point out here, and I guess the most important takeaway for any lithium junior, any lithium producer, or anybody investing in the lithium space, is there is a massive demand for the product. There's a lot of investment in the US into producing or developing battery factories, processing for lithium hydroxides, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The real important thing is that they're probably not going to have enough spodumene to actually get all this. The demand for the spodumene and the actual product that they're going to need to stick in the front end of all these facilities is not there. Brazil is a logical source of that product. It's very, very close to the US, and we feel Brazil is forming one of the tier 1 locations for spodumene and lithium exploration. We've got Western Australia, which produces about 50% of the world's hard rock spodumene or hard rock lithium. Actually, we've got Canada. You guys did a fantastic job in Ontario and Quebec, et cetera, bringing assets hopefully into production very shortly, but also some of the resources being proved up there are massive. And we've got Brazil with 2 very important projects. One is Sigma, just coming into production now. They've got a life of mine of about 40 years, a $15 billion market cap, a $15 billion NPV, sorry. There's talk about Tesla getting involved with them. So the area is starting to hotten up. We've also got Latin Resources, which has recently published their first maiden resource, and there's massive potential for upside. What we feel that we've got in northeastern Brazil, which is the Borborema lithium project, which sits up just in Natal. It's about 3 hours inland with good road access and good infrastructure. That's actually a pegmatite at surface there. That's one of the things you don't get in Western Australia, is you can walk up and stand next to pegmatite with spodumene sticking out of it. We don't have that possibility in WA anymore. All the ground's been pegged. What I feel is up here in the northeastern part of Brazil is we picked up 25,000 hectares roughly of underexplored tenements and licenses. These licenses all pretty much sit on what we call the Goldilocks zone. The Goldilocks zone in lithium exploration is that 0 to 5 kilometre contact zone between an intrusive LCT-rich bearing pegmatite, so it's got the right fluids, and the country rock or the mafic or whatever's sitting around that contact, and that's where the lithium deposits. That Goldilocks zone is about 0 to 5 kilometre distance. We've picked up, as you can see, these are granite intrusives sitting here in the pink, and then there's the sort of that lighter coloured one as well. They're named T1 to T6 granites. Now they're exactly the same age as the granites down in the Minas Gerais area, which is producing the lithium assets, the lithium deposits for Sigma and for Latin Resources. We have spodumene at surface. We have visual confirmation that the area is pregnant with lithium. We feel that there's a massive potential here to put your foot on projects which can deliver resources in a very short period of time. Historically, there's been virtually no exploration or very little exploration in this area for lithium. There's been exploration for feldspar and base metals, but nothing for lithium. That's where we feel the opportunity exists for Solis going forward. We have excellent infrastructure and excellent access. As I said before, I've just recently been there for a week and a half. Very easy to fly into Natal, very easy to get access by road. Supportive towns in the region. We're looking to employ we've just employed our first geologist from the region up there. So there's local schools which can provide geological technicians, etc., etc. There is a mining culture in place already. There's significant amount of feldspar mines, kaolin mines, quartz mines, tourmaline projects. There's a number of people employed in the local industry. There's not a massive amount of agriculture there, so the main focus is on getting any sort of mining asset up and running. And as I said, we've got a team that we're ready to deploy in place. We've got an experienced Peruvian geologist, picked up a local young geologist in place. We're opening an office this week in Natal, so everything's moving very, very quickly. But we feel like in the next 3 to 6 months, we're going to have a significant amount of news flow with regards to additional projects and also news flow from our existing tenements. Sticking with Boroboma project or the province itself, as you can see, it's a massive province. It's the area that we're looking at and the potential area for discovery is huge. We have a significant amount of prospectivity in the south and east, and also in the northeastern zone. There's 2 main corridors you can see running up through our tenements, which are the red ones, and then the existing grey tenements are tenements that have been pegged for mining companies with the objective of looking for feldspars and other materials that can particularly be associated with lithium. We will be actively exploring options and actively evaluating projects in this area over the next 3 to 6 months. Our idea is to double our land package or triple our land holding in the near term. All of the exploration will be low-cost geochemical exploration. We're looking at building up a database of prospective targets, and then later this year, hopefully mid this year, we'll be in a position to start our first drilling programs. Moving on to the second battery metal that we have, and hence this room, is copper in southern Peru. Now, I haven't had a chance to visit these projects as yet. I've had discussions with our director, Michael Parker, regarding the prospectivity of these projects. Michael is very bullish on these projects. There's been little exploration done to date on these projects. They're called Hilo Norte, Hilo Este, and Cinto projects. They're in southern Peru. Why are we looking for copper in Latin America? I guess that's a no-brainer. Chile produces 35% of the world's copper. Peru is about 14, thereabouts. So massive prospectivity for IOCG porphyry-style projects. They are in friendly mining jurisdictions, although Peru at the moment is going through probably a bit of an upheaval. We're probably travelling to Peru after the PDAC, so things seem to be settling down there, but we'll keep an eye on what's happening with the political environment. In the meantime, we will be advancing our projects in Peru with some application for drilling permits, environmental permits, and also some Landsat style and also geophysical interpretations. The three projects that we have are Hilo Norte, which sits right by one of the copper smelters on the coast. We have also Hilo Este, which is about 100 kilometres to the southeast, and also recently pegged in November last year was the Sintel project. All of these projects sit in a belt which is hosting some major copper discoveries like Tia Maria, example, Cajone, and I think it's Toquepala. They're all in the order of 2 to 3 billion tonnes. Up to 0.5% copper, so massive systems obviously that majors like Rio Tinto, BHP, those sort of companies would be involved in. They are big projects. Exploration for the IGS systems and porphyry systems is something that a junior of our size currently at the moment will start, but we'll most probably look for a JV partner to help us come in and finance these going forward, because they're very, very capital intensive, as you know. The projects themselves cover an area of about 100 square kilometres. They've been underexplored to date. Remote sensing studies such as and new systems such as GeoView or WorldView 3, etc., have identified that Hilo Norte and Hilo Este themselves have areas of prospectivity but haven't been drilled yet. They haven't been fully tested by geophysics, and they haven't been drill tested. Throughout this year and throughout the next 6 months, apart from putting in our applications for environmental permitting and drilling our first several holes, access to the ground basically, we'll be doing a lot of remote sensing test work and remote sensing interpretation. We have 600 gigabytes worth of data that we have to sort of filter our way through, and we'll be producing high priority targets for our guys over the next 6 months. We have a team in Peru. We have Michael Parker, who's ex-Equinox, has a fantastic amount of country experience. Michael is, I believe, married and lives half of his life in Peru, so he's got a massive amount of intellectual IP there. I think what we're looking to do here at Peru is find ourselves within the next 6 to 8 months a high priority target and get our first drill hole into that, and then see if we can't advance that project quickly after that. Sinto, again, I'll just touch on this before. This is 3,200 hectares. The Sinto sits on a fault that I can't pronounce the name of. It's in a Puku fault system. Basically, it's dropping down. This is sediment on the southern half of it, and then there's the prospective hosting volcanics on the north. The idea again here would be to apply systematic remote sensing and geochemical and early stage exploration for target development over the next 6 months. That in a nutshell is Solis Minerals. Hopefully next time we are here, we'll have a lot more information regarding our first drilling program and our advancement in Brazil, and also advancement of the copper porphyry projects in southern Peru. And that at the moment is exactly where we're at.